When demons confront the heart, Maya is very strong. Krishna and Balarama, the supreme heroes, can show us the path he endures to defeat each and every one. Let us face those obstacles together, friends. Chant Hare Krishna.
Anarthas are unwanted habits and impurities that obstruct pure devotion to Krishna. Bhaktivedanta Thakur reveals the inner rascal and fool-like tendencies that darken the heart of a devotee, each standing in our way to Krishna Prema. In this video we will meet these demons and witness how Krishna deals with them in his own personal way, showing the path from burdened hearts to hearts overflowing with love and devotion. So my dear fellow Bhaktas, sit back, open your hearts, and let us kill some demons. One day, on an ordinary morning in Vraja, all of a sudden a most beautiful woman appeared. She took the heart of the Vrajavasis by storm with her beautiful appearance and gentle words, yet her intentions were all poison. Putana, the fierce Rakshasa witch, accepted the order of her wicked master Kamsa of Mathura to find a means to kill his enemy Krishna by any means necessary. The demoness took the form of a beautiful woman, radiant like a goddess from heaven, to deceive the unsuspecting Vrajavasis. Her intention was to kill Krishna with poisoned breast nipples, while making Mother Yashoda believe she came as nurse to feed Krishna her breast milk. She approached with a smile, offering milk from her poisoned breast in the hopes to destroy Krishna, the bane of Putana's master Kamsa. Yet Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, fully aware of her wicked intentions and past sins of killing many babies in the pursuance of Krishna's identity, sucked out all of her milk and life force, exposing her true ugly nature, and in this way revealed to the Vrajavasis that indeed a demonic witch tried to kill him. Krishna accepted the momentarily attraction Putana felt to him as a mother loves a child when she saw Krishna's beauty, and after death she attained the form of a nurse in Krishna's eternal association. And just as Krishna saw through Putana's false beauty, so too he helps the sincere devotees to see through false teachers and flowery words of the Vedas that poison the heart, marketing worldly dharma as bhakti or mukti as the goal of true religion. By Krishna's revelation, even the most charming philosophies that lead astray from pure devotional service, like the desire to destroy the self within Brahman liberation, are gently lifted away by the personal guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, leaving only truth, satyam, and correct understanding of siddhanta to help flourish the heart with suitable loving emotions to Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. During a festival in Vraja, as the Vrajavasis performed a yajna for Krishna's protection, Sakatasura, a lowly ghost demon, came to devise a plan to kill Krishna. Krishna, fully conscious of the ghost's intentions, struck the cart with a single powerful kick, shattering and killing the demon instantly. The festival continued undisturbed, and the devotees remained unharmed, with only Nanda and Yashoda wondering how the cart could have been broken down or how Krishna might have been threatened. We may struggle, we may suffer, but when we come into contact with Krishna through initiation, chanting and sincere service attitude, especially within Vaishnava society, he destroys these burdens without our notice. Just as the demon vanished unseen before the villagers, so too are our old impressions and laziness to act in Krishna consciousness removed by Krishna's mercy. Once these burdens are lifted, the heart becomes lighter and the creeper of devotion rises naturally towards God's divine kingdom, growing steadily through the weeds of anarthas by Krishna Shravanam and Kirtanam and other practices of devotional service. Mother Yashoda, carrying Krishna in her arms, once felt him unexpectedly growing heavy, as the very weight of the universe pressed upon her lap. Alarmed, she was confused about Krishna's sudden weight and struggled to hold him, putting him down in wonder, But the Lord only smiled. Aware of the approaching danger, he wanted to remove his mother from his arms. Suddenly, a heavy whirlwind started to blow in Vraja. The Trinavarta demon appeared, spinning through the sky like a furious dust storm. The cows ran in panic, and the Vrajavasis cried out in alarm, believing a mighty tornado had descended upon their village. Before Yashoda could reach Krishna again, the demon seized him and lifted him high into the air, carrying the child far above the trembling villagers. Yashoda, filled with anxiety and fear for her beloved son, stretched out her arms, running across the fields, calling for Krishna, her heart pounding with terror. Krishna, laughing at the demon's attempts, gradually increased his weight immeasurably. The mighty whirlwind demon could not bear the increasing burden. Seized by Krishna, Trinavarta fell from the sky with a terrible crash, his bones shattered and crushed by Krishna's weight. The dust storm vanished completely. The gopis rejoiced to see their beloved Krishna safe and sound, and Yashoda and Nanda marveled once again how the child had been mysteriously protected from such danger. Just as Trinavarta spun the skies in his prideful strength, so too can our clever arguments and philosophical chatter, also known as prajalpa, and even the knowledge of the Vedas whirl the heart into confusion if it is not soaked in the blessings of Bhakti Devi. A scholar may recite the Vedas, pondering the truth of the shlokas, and boast of his learning, yet without devotion his knowledge becomes like a hot air balloon, dry, ungrounded, and easily popped. Or, if he has taken himself too seriously, a dangerous whirlwind of Mayic knowledge that can only crush under the Lord's sweet mercy. Even the Jnani or Yogi or Brahmana, knowers of the Vedas, if not immersed in bhakti, risk letting their renunciation and penances turn into bitter renunciation or dry scholarship, separating them from their soul's true wealth, the sweet service of Bhagavan Śrī Kṛṣṇa. In his mercy, Krishna either gently presses down upon such pride, restoring the heart to humility, and allowing the creeper of devotion to take root in both knowledge and loving sentiment, or with great force, he crushes false philosophy, useless debates, and mental speculations that have taken deep root as anarthas in the heart of an aspiring devotee. In Vraj, the trees are exalted. The Vrindavan trees bend low, offering fruits and flowers, shade and fragrance, as they are naturally inclined towards Balarams and Krishna's service. But the Yamala Arjuna trees were a little different. Born as beautiful demigods and sons of the treasurer of the demigods Kuvera, they lived a life wasted in material wealth and intoxication. Once, when the great sage Narada passed by their residence, the two brothers, due to excessive intoxication and association with women, failed to receive him properly. They were so overcome by wine and arrogance born from aristocratic birth that they could not even perceive his presence. Even though the ladies accompanying them immediately covered their naked bodies, the brothers were not even recognizing his presence. Seeing their fallen condition, Narada did not curse them out of anger, but out of compassion. Reflecting that pride born of wealth and false prestige had blinded them, he declared, "Since you have become like trees, standing naked, devoid of proper conduct and discrimination, you shall indeed become trees. In that condition, you will remain conscious, remembering your present mistakes. For 100 years in the calculation of the demigods, you shall stand in silence. After that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear before you. By his mercy, you will be liberated from this condition and restored to your rightful position." Finally coming to their senses, the sons of Kuvera begged the sage Narada for forgiveness, but the words of a great soul can never prove false. Thus, for 100 celestial years, they stood in silence, waiting to be liberated by Krishna. Krishna, who is always sworn to carry out his devotees' promises, broke down these twin Arjuna trees in one of his most known pastimes known as Damodar Lila. Bhaktivedanta Thakur explains that the breaking of the twin Yamala Arjuna trees pastime frees the heart from the subtle pride that arises from identification with bodily beauty, noble birth, education, wealth, and social standing. Such pratishta does not roar like a lion, It stands naked and without shame, thinking oneself superior to the wisdom of sages and being independent of the mercy of God. It quietly convinces us to believe firmly that we are already perfect and require no further guidance for our success in life. Thus, by the mercy hidden within the sage's anger, Krishna saved the brothers from their spiritual ignorance, and just like the breaking of the Arjuna trees, Krishna breaks our false prestige arising from false ego, allowing us to take back our position as the Lord's eternal loving servants, just as the demigod twins returned to their position of heavenly enjoyment after the duration of the sage's curse expired. In the groves of Vraja, the Gopas were guiding the calves, playing with Krishna and laughing, completely unaware that the mischievous demon named Vatsasura had taken the form of a calf and entered their playgrounds. Krishna, who knows the hearts of all living beings, immediately perceived the demon hiding in innocent disguise. Among the many calves, one had suddenly sneaked into the herd, a clever demon named Vatsa. Appearing in the form of an innocent calf, his intention was to murder Krishna's friends while pretending to be a calf seeking his mother's affection. This symbolizes childish intelligence that disguises itself as innocence, but is actually offensive ignorance. Krishna, picking up the demon's intentions, picked him up by his tails and started to swing him around, killing him on impact. This pastime is meant to target the ācāryas, whirling their arguments contrary to Shastric principles while living out sinful desires. They pretend to fit into the innocent groups of pure bhaktas, carrying ill intentions, enjoying the position of guru worship, or enjoying their material senses, covering it as religion. They are unable to give real love of God, appearing to be part of the herd of saintly people, while hiding truly demonic natures. Krishna's mercy can destroy all false arguments that suggest pure bhakti to be achieved while maintaining material desires opposed to the desires of Krishna. This demon is killed by Krishna's gaze as Madan Mohan, the conqueror of Cupid, who is capable of both educating a stubborn and willful son alike. So those that take bhakti serious can expect to be treated like the innocent calf, while the demoniac, pretentious ones can expect to receive a different treatment. In the deep forests of Raj, near the river Yamuna, after the calves had drunk on the fresh waters and the cowherd boys rested on the banks, a strange and terrifying shape appeared on the horizon. From afar, it looked like a giant bird, immense as a hill, its curved beak sharp as a thunderbolt. This was Bakasura, a demon in the form of a colossal crane sent by Kamsa. He came charging at Krishna, hammering his beak, trying to crush the Lord. Krishna broke Bakasura's crooked beak into two, killing the demon effortlessly, while the cowherd boys looked in amazement. Just as the crooked beak of the crane Bakasura was destroyed, so too does Krishna, with his strong arms, break all duplicity and crookedness in his dedicated worshippers. All dishonesty, cunning, and false dealings are smashed, leaving nothing but pure Krishna prema in the heart. In the peaceful forests of Vrindavan, Krishna once arose early in the morning and gathered his cowherd boy friends and their calves, planning a simple outing and meal in the woods. Unaware of any dangers, the boys laughed and played as they were wandering through the pasture grounds with their calves, when suddenly a shadow swept over the pastures. This was Aghasura, the younger brother of Putana and Bakasura, sent by Kamsa to destroy Krishna and his friends. He had assumed the form of a huge python, expanding himself 8 miles long and as high as a mountain, his mouth wide open. It looked like a dark cave, waiting to lure the unsuspecting boys inside. The boys, carefree and full of curiosity, trusted only in Krishna's protection and boldly entered Aghasura's mouth, thinking the cave to be a place for their adventures. Seeing this, Krishna, who was aware of the nature of the demon and worried for his friends, followed them. Entering the carnivorous throat of the demon, he expanded himself into a form greater than the python itself, filling its entire body. The immense form of Krishna stretched until the demon's life airs were choked, and with a tremendous sound, the serpent's body burst apart like a tree struck by lightning. Aghasura lay lifeless, and the boys and calves safe were once again in Krishna's loving association. Just as Aghasura sought to devour everything in his path, so too does the gluttony of the tongue, an insatiable appetite for meat and violence toward innocent beings, gradually swallow the natural mercy in the heart. Habitual harm to innocent creatures, whether through ignorance or indulgence, dulls the softness of the heart that devotees require to have. One may believe such habits to be acceptable, necessary. Yet for those blessed with access to grains, fruits, milk, nuts, and wholesome foodstuff, which can be made an offering to Krishna, the anartha of violent gluttony can easily be overcome with the strength of prasada, nurturing body, heart, and mind. Aghasura in his python form shows how the mind, led by unchecked desire, becomes a devouring monster, consuming the innocent and weak. If left unaddressed, such cravings can swallow the very compassion on which bhakti is based on. Those who dismiss this, thinking meat-eating harmless, remain trapped in the cycle of eat or be eaten. The vicious cycle of suffering that only conscious mercy and devotional discipline can break.
Krishna Om Namo Om Narayana.
After the slaying of Aghasura, Krishna sat with his dear coward friends on the soft banks of the Yamuna. The boys opened their lunch bags, laughing, joking, and sharing their meals. Sometimes, one boy stealing another one's lunchbox and passing it playfully to another, they would pass their time in great joy. While they were absorbed in these sweet pastimes, Lord Brahma, the first created being of the universe, observed them from his celestial realm. As he watched, a doubt arose, a question, a subtle disturbance in the heart. Can this simple coward boy truly be the supreme reality that I worship, the Supreme Lord, who has given birth to me? Is this child truly the source of my existence and the revealer of the Vedas? Momentarily covered by pride of being the creator, Brahma decided to test Krishna's mystic powers with his own. Just then, some of the calves wandered off. Krishna said lovingly to his friends, "Do not worry, continue your lunch, I will bring them back," and he left. Seizing the moment, Brahma stole the calves and then the boys, placing them in mystic sleep and hiding them away in Brahmaloka. But Krishna, returning, immediately understood, and then he smiled. To preserve the love of the Vrajavasis, he expanded himself into every missing calf and boy, not mere copies, but complete expansions of himself. Each calf, each boy was Krishna, and something wondrous happened. No one felt separation. Instead, their love only increased. The cows gave more milk for their calves. The cowherd men smelled the heads of their sons as signs of fatherly affection, and the gopis started to feel the same love for their sons as they felt for Krishna. Every bond grew stronger, because unknowingly they were loving Krishna directly. Only Balaram perceived this illusion. Though for Brahma, only a moment passed, on earth a full year went by. When he returned, he was astonished to see that his mystic powers seemed to have failed. Everything appeared unchanged. The same boys, the same calves, still with Krishna. He even went back to his realm to see if the boys were still left in mystic sleep. Confused, he looked again, and then each boy and calf revealed four-armed forms of Narayan, countless effulgent divine forms, all looking exactly like the four-armed Vishnu. Before merging back into that one simple cowherd boy Krishna, standing with rice mixed with yogurt in his left hand, smiling. Brahma's pride was shattered. Ashamed and falling to the ground like a stick, he offered prayers, realizing he had tried to measure the immeasurable, to compare the potency that allowed him to create the universe within the Supreme Personality of Godhead that empowered him in the first place. This pastime represents the anartha of confusion arising from karma and jnana. Even the most learned, even the Creator himself, endowed with divine qualities and purity, can become bewildered when trying to measure Krishna through tri-philosophical speculation, ritualistic calculation, or intellectual pride. Such paths, though authorized by Vedic scriptures and powerful in their domain, can neither grasp the sweetness of Raja nor develop into perfection if it is not connected with the process of Bhakti Yoga. When we approach Krishna only with calculation, with distance, or with reverence alone, we may miss him completely. You may stand before Vrajananda Krishna and still not see him as he longs to be seen. In this way, Krishna, along with his elder brother Balaram, passed through the childhood age, known as Kaumara, and entered Pauganda, the age from 6 to 10 years. After their 5th year, the cowherd men of Raja considered them mature enough to take care of the grown-up cows. Now Krishna, slowly growing into an adult, his flute became his constant companion. Wandering through the forest with his friends, enchanting all beings with their sweet melodies, the cowherd boys sang and danced in joy. One day, they approached Krishna and Balaram and said, "Dear Baladev, you are very powerful, with arms like mighty pillars. And dear Krishna, you are expert in killing all kinds of demons. Please hear our request. There is a great forest called Talavan, filled with tall palm trees bearing wonderful ripe and fragrant fruits. We desire to taste them, but a terrible demon in the form of a donkey has claimed that forest as his own. No one dares to enter, not even birds or animals, for fear of losing their lives. Except for you, there is no one who can stop him." Desiring to please their friends, Krishna and Balaram entered the Talavan forest, ready to confront the demon and his followers. Approaching the trees, Lord Balaram, with effortless strength, began to shake them. The great palms trembled, and the ripe fruits fell to the ground in abundance, delighting the cowherd boys. Waking from his slumber by hearing the crushing sound of the falling trees, the big-ass demon Dhenuka, enraged by the disrespect of his territory, charged at Balaram with such speed and force that the ground was shaking like an earthquake. With great force, he kicked Balaram with his powerful hind leg in the chest, but Balaram would not even move an inch. As Dhenukasura prepared to strike again, Balaram swiftly seized his legs, whirled him around with immense strength, and hurled him into the trees. The impact shattered the trees, and more fruits fell to the ground, as the demon lost his life instantly. Seeing their leader destroyed, the other donkey demons attacked in fury, but Krishna and Balaram, playing as if in sport, caught them one by one and hurled them into the trees, bringing down a rain of fruits. At last the forest was freed. Dhenukasura symbolizes the ignorance that arises from stubbornness, laziness, intoxication, and resistance to self-realization. Like the ass who guards fruits he does not even taste, the conditioned soul may block access to spiritual nourishment while neither enjoying it nor allowing others to do so. Such dullness makes one blind to the reality of life's suffering, birth, death, old age, and disease, unwilling to seek higher truth, and often manifests in a lack of empathy and lethargy. Unlike Krishna, who removes obstacles beyond our control, Balaram enters the fray to help us confront the demons that reside within our own heart by our own invitation. These anarthas are not removed by Krishna. They are our responsibility to overcome. By our own desire, we must confront the demons Balaram kills through determination, austerity, study of sacred scriptures, and guidance under a bona fide spiritual master. As long as Dhenukasura remains within the heart, the sweet fruits of devotion remain out of reach, like up there in the trees, guarded by a powerful demon, for a lack of desire to attain the fruits. But when, by the strength of Balaram, this ignorance may be overcome, we should pray for such strength. One day, as Krishna and the cowherd boys wandered along the banks of the Yamuna, a dreadful sight appeared before them. The clear waters of the river, once full of life, had become dark, thick and violently disturbed, as if life itself could no longer remain within them. No fish swam in those waters, no deer came to drink. Birds flying overhead would fall down dead from the poisonous fumes emanating from the mouth of KALIYA. All creatures had abandoned that place. This was the lake where the demon KALIYA had made his residence. Krishna stood still for a moment, surveying the devastation before him. His eyes deep and full of compassion, he scanned the poisoned rivers and the lifeless shores. His heart, always attuned to the suffering of his devotees, felt the weight of the misery caused by KALIYA's presence. The lake, once an integral part of his beloved Vrindavan, had been corrupted, and where there was corruption, Krishna would bring purity. Krishna tightened his belt, ready to enter the arena of the KALIYA snake, climbed a nearby tree, or whatever was left over of it, and jumped into the lake. The serpent KALIYA, upon seeing this audacious intruder invading his domain, surged from the depths. Enraged and ready to kill God, his many heads hissing with venom, he caught hold of Krishna, coiled around him and held him in a tight embrace, like an anaconda swallows its prey. Krishna seemed lost in KALIYA's embrace for many hours, the cowherd boys losing their lives in despair that their friend Krishna might be killed and lost. Some boys informed the villagers. Yashoda and Nanda, who knew Krishna went out this morning without Balaram, rushed to the scene. Desperation came upon all of Vrindavan. Fearing for Krishna's life, they thought, today Krishna surely is going to be vanquished. Yashoda fainted and remained as if dead. Her friends shed tears, trying to revive her. Nanda and the cowherd men were ready to enter the lake and fight with KALIYA, but Balaram checked them, reassuring Krishna is fine. Krishna then suddenly broke free from the grasp of KALIYA, and the famous scene where Krishna danced on the hoods of KALIYA's serpent began to unfold. Bit by bit, the poison of KALIYA vanquished out of its body. Lifetimes of anger, envy and grief began to evaporate from KALIYA's mind. With each of Krishna's steps, the snake lost its poison, and Krishna, the master of all dances, expertly avoided all the attacks of the many-hooded snake, while bringing an impressive dancing performance. After KALIYA finally was about to lose his life, being trampled by Krishna's lotus feet, the wives of KALIYA rushed out of its lair and started to pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, saying, "O Personality of Godhead, you are the source of all creation, and you are the ultimate protector of the innocent. We, the wives of KALIYA, have been forced to live in fear and isolation because of his wickedness. But now we see that your divine power has come to purify this place. We beg you, O Lord, please spare the life of our husband and give him the opportunity to change. We surrender ourselves completely to your mercy. Please show him the way to liberation and grant him peace. For only you, the Supreme Being, have the power to purify him from the venom of his false ego." Krishna, being pleased by the devotion of the wives of KALIYA, agreed to spare the snake and accepted to release KALIYA on the condition that he will leave the Yamuna rivers. KALIYA, who out of fear of Garuda fled to the lake, was arguing that he cannot go back for fear of his life, but Krishna assured that Garuda will recognize the symbols of Krishna's lotus feet that have become engraved upon KALIYA's head and not attack him again. KALIYA departed peacefully with his wives, and the Vrajavasis, being pleased with Krishna's safety, were again reabsorbed in their own peaceful life. This pastime teaches us that the burden of ahankara, or false ego, manifests in the enviousness of a snake who does not allow anyone to live in his domain except himself. KALIYA was not killed but severely punished, indicating that Krishna never kills the ego, but only purifies it from material existence. To those with divine qualities, it feels pleasant, but those who suffer demonic nature cannot appreciate Krishna's heavy steps on their heads, in the form of his punishment inflicted as suffering of the three material miseries. Therefore we must understand that God is our eternal well-wisher and friend, and after the poison of the heart is purified, I am allowed to again be reinstated in my eternal love for the Lord of all beings. From this pastime we can learn that God's famous eternal grace is always available, but he is not an idiot. God also has a rod of punishment, and therefore we should endeavor to not provoke God's anger to fear divine retribution. Krishna's devotees, however, are always under his protective gaze, and even in times of difficulty, They trust that his actions are meant for the ultimate welfare. This is the difference between being an instrument of grace and being subjected to divine punishment. When we surrender to him with a genuine heart, we avoid invoking his anger. And instead, his mercy becomes a guiding force in our life. Like a father who easily forgives the offenses of a misbehaving child, Krishna can easily forgive the offenses of his sincere bhaktas. But please don't provoke him. Samsara is compared to a forest fire, and as such, Bhaktivinoda Thakur states that arguments between sampradayas and religious families, envy of the existence of other religious groups, which are not according to his own family or gotra, envying the demigods or disrespecting the Vedas, compared to the frictions of bamboos starting a forest fire. Like bamboo, under strong winds sometimes create forest fires. So useless quarreling between religious groups that will not lead to ultimate unity in purpose of love of God will devour us like a forest fire. Similarly, words come from the mouth. So as Krishna swallowed the fire with his mouth, with the lips of his instructions given in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, given by Krishna himself and by the ācāryas who are representatives of Krishna, the intense forest fire of useless argumentation and debate can be swallowed by good argumentation. It is said that useless argumentation is as equally rejected as blind following. So in this process of bhakti yoga, our intelligence is being questioned. And if we are up to the challenge, we stick through with it, and we are not envious, then the knowledge of Krishna consciousness becomes very clear to us. But if we want to be swallowed by the forest fire, defiance of the mercy of God, that's also... If the house burns, one may choose to stay inside because he likes the house. He doesn't want to give up the house. But in a way, our body is a house too, and well, it has an expiration date. So one can either use one's time suffering in this world without knowledge, or one can go and try to find the cause of why am I even suffering in the first place? One day, as Krishna and the cowherd boys were playing their joyful games, a demon named Pralambhasura, sent by the wicked Kamsa, came in disguise of a cowherd boy. He appeared as a friend, joining the game, and tried to deceive the boys with his charm. Krishna, the ever-watchful protector of his devotees, knew the true nature of this demon. In a playful match of wrestling, the demon tried to be matched against Krishna and kill him during the sport. However, he was faced against Balaram's party instead, and after losing the game, the boys arranged that the losing side was meant to carry the winning team through the Bandiravan forest. Instead of going there, the Pralambha demon carried Balaram far away. Then he revealed his true form, immediately attacking Balaram. Balaram, who appeared to be unaware of the demon's nature till then, killed Pralambhasura with one powerful hit of his divine fist. The giant demon fell down with a tumultuous sound and was killed in an instant. The boys, who were surprised about the identity of their newfound friend, came running to the scene, and after realizing what happened, they started to praise Balaram for his strength and valor. This pastime shows us that like a wolf in sheep's clothing that tries to deceive with external sweetness but internal power struggles, so too does excessive and irreligious lust appear very pleasing at first, but ruins our spiritual life by corrupting the inner heart with layers of attachment towards this material body. Similar to illicit sex, so is the hankering for material position known as pratishta, and collecting more material things than is required for one's maintenance, considered self-inflicted obstacles on the path of bhakti. Like Pralambha, disguising himself as well-wishing friend but truly wanting to kill Krishna, so too do the material desires disguise themselves as our best friends and well-wishers but secretly desire to murder the Bhakti Lata beach has taken root in our heart that requires tender care and protection. The more we chase material desires without guidance and spiritual wisdom, the further we are pulling away from Krishna. Just as Pralambhasura tried to take Balaram far away from the other boys into a place where he could harm him, so too do material desires carry us away from the association of devotees, which association alone can make the creeper of devotion strong and firm. Praying to Balaram for strength and valor, we can conquer even the giant enemy of lust by accepting the boundaries of marriage and the sacrifice of material wealth and possessions for Krishna's Sankirtana movement. If by destiny we have achieved a comfortable position, even that can be used. King Prataparudra was unable to be seen by Lord Chaitanya at first, but when the king forgot all pride of his royal position and became a simple sweeter for Lord Jagannath's Rathayatra festival, the Lord accepted him as the best of devotees.
Om Namo Naraya Swaha.
This is one of my favorite pastimes because it is so simple yet so deep. Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, Turvanyam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagashaha syakartaram apimam vidyakartaram avyayam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, I created the four divisions of human society, in which in previous ages the Varna was determined by birth, and only rarely would a Brahmana or Kshatriya fall from his dharma. But since KALIYA, and actually in all ages, the Varna and ashram of someone is determined by quality and work, not by birth. One day, after wandering with the cows and calves throughout the forest, the boys became hungry and they asked Krishna and Balaram that since they know they are the killers of so many demons, because the boys skipped breakfast today, they wondered if Krishna and Balaram might be able to slay the demon of hunger that has come from wandering many miles away from the village. Krishna and Balaram sent them on a mission to visit Brahmanas engaged in Vedic sacrifice. The cowherd boys eagerly ran toward the arena of sacrifice and asked the Brahmanas who chanted the mantras expertly to give some donation on Krishna and Balaram's behalf to them. They even said Krishna and Balaram are very hungry. Even though young and innocent, the cowherd boys were expert in Vedic sacrifices and argued that at this time of the sacrifice it is appropriate to give to hungry beggars some charity. Yet still they ignored them. The wives of the Brahmanas, however, were disturbed to hear that Krishna and Balaram were suffering hunger. So without their husband's permission, they stole some of the offered food and brought them through the forest to Krishna and Balaram. There stood Krishna beneath the forest of Vrindavan, his complexion dark like a fresh rain cloud, his yellow garments shining like lightning, a peacock feather decorating his beautiful hair, and a gentle smile playing upon his lips. He appeared like the most perfect dancer, standing effortlessly beneath the forest trees of Vrindavan, enchanting the hearts of all who beheld him. Overwhelmed with love and devotion, the wives of the Brahmanas placed the offerings before Krishna and Balaram and fell at their lotus feet. Krishna, greatly pleased, replied, "O my dear Brahmana Patris, I wish you good fortune. Today you have achieved the result of your desire and have seen me. You have abandoned all fear and hesitation, all considerations of family relations, simply to come and see me. Your minds are fixed upon me, and therefore your lives are all successful. Now please return back to your husbands, since they need you to finish the ritual." The women were stunned. "Return?" After finally reaching him, the Brahmana Patris replied, "Dear Lord, please do not send us away. After what we have done, how will our husbands, brothers and fathers accept us again? It does not befit you to give us such instructions. Instead, you should give us eternal shelter at your lotus feet." Krishna smilingly replied, "Do not worry, your husbands and relatives will accept you and will be greatly pleased to see you return." The ladies therefore returned back to the Brahmanas, who already realized their mistake of being blinded by the desire to go to heaven, to enjoy greater standards of sense pleasure. Instead of offering the god they worshipped the food they so devotedly offered to Vishnu in Yajna. Totally feeling ashamed of their arrogance to neglect the pure devotee of the Lord, the Brahmanas became completely free of the pride of being at the top of the Varnashram system, as well as the desire to elevate themselves with the tedious and painful process of karma kanda, the superior standards of material life. One may become proud of good birth and duty. One may become proud of being a scholar. One may become proud of strict religious faith. One may even become proud of being a devotee of Krishna. But unless these qualities awaken loving service to the personality of Godhead, perfection of spiritual existence remains far away. The Vedic Brahmanas knew every mantra of the sacrifice perfectly well. Yet did they fail to recognize the very Lord for whom all sacrifices are performed. Thus Krishna destroyed within them the anartha of ritualistic performance, an attachment to karma kanda, teaching that the ultimate purpose of all religion, all knowledge, all austerity, and all sacrifice is not to elevate to heaven, but the awakening of pure love for Him. Here at the feet of my own Govardhan, I want to narrate you this most famous pastime of Krishna. As the season of autumn unfolded in Vrindavan, the forest bloomed with fresh beauty. The cows grazed peacefully, the Yamuna flowed gently, and preparations were underway for one of Raja's annual festivals. Nanda Maharaj and the elder cowherd men busied themselves arranging offerings, collecting grains, preparing sweets, and organizing a grand sacrifice. Seeing all this activity, young Krishna approached his father with innocent curiosity. "My dear father, what is this festival? For whom are these offerings intended? And what result do you hope to achieve by performing it?" Nanda Maharaj smiled. "My dear child, this sacrifice is for Lord Indra, King of Heaven. He supplies the rains upon which our livelihood depends. By worshipping him, we ensure prosperity for our cows, fields, and families." Krishna listened carefully. Then with a playful smile he began speaking. "If prosperity comes only from worshipping demigods, then why do people experience different results according to their own activities? Is not one's situation determined by one's work and nature?" The cowherd men were seriously surprised by the wisdom of the 7-year-old boy, and Nanda Maharaj began seriously listening to his son in silence. "If we would not perform this puja, would that mean it would stop raining? Isn't the sun evaporating the water of the ocean and then transforming that into clouds, which then produce rain?" Some cowherd men and Brahmanas were doubting Krishna's Karma Mimamsa philosophy, even though it was sound logic. Krishna, seeing the doubt, spoke then boldly. "My dear father, nowhere in Shastra it is said that every community must annually worship Indra. Each person should perform his prescribed duties according to his nature. We are cowherd men. Our prosperity comes protection of the cows, and our livelihood depends on the gifts of Govardhan Hill. Therefore let us honor Govardhan, the cows, and the Brahmanas instead." Then one of the most intimate pastimes of Raja began to unfold. In great haste, the householders made arrangements and even started to cook much more offerings for Govardhan Hill. Indra, who had the ability to see the happenings on earth, understood that his regular puja, which rarely brought prestige and results of yajna performances, has been disturbed by a small 7-year-old boy, Krishna. He became enraged, thinking himself worthy of the throne of gods. Arrogant due to pride of his position as king of heaven, and blinded by wrath, he ordered the Samvartaka clouds to manifest in this land of Gokula, to destroy all the tiny cowherd men, women, cows, and all the living beings there, because they dared to listen to a small boy. When the clouds started pouring, they poured in literal streams. Within short time, Raja became completely flooded, and all Rajavasis feared destruction, because they offended the King of Heaven. In their desperation, they knew no other shelter than Krishna, and simply begged for his protection. Krishna then famously lifted Govardhan Hill, and held it like an umbrella over his head for 7 consecutive days and nights, until Indra realized he is not dealing with an ordinary person. Externally, Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill to protect Raj from Indra, but internally he created an opportunity to spend 7 uninterrupted days in the company of his beloved devotees, who could now gaze upon his beautiful form without separation. Realizing his mistake, Indra withdrew the Samvartaka clouds and fell to the lotus feet of the Lord to beg forgiveness. Pastime is meant to teach us that pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead need not even fear the wrath of the demigods when they are surrendered to him. It also teaches that even though the jiva can become as good as God in qualities, he is always inferior to the sarva karana karanam, or the cause of all causes. We are not God, we are his servants. That is the mentality of the Vaishnava. To destroy all false ego connected with the desire of pratishtha in this mortal world is considered the anartha that is destroyed by this lila. Indra thought himself very great, but for a small offense of a 7-year-old child he was ready to murder an entire village. Leaders like Indra, who possess great power and still misuse them because of petty offenses, do not deserve their positions. Maya in the form of death will take away all our prestige and position. Therefore, the Vaishnava theology suggests complete dependence on Krishna's divine protection as an absolute necessity of the soul. this pastime, according to the Thakura, is actually connected to the destruction of the illusion that intoxication may increase the spiritual bliss of one's devotional service. I was actually very confused at first what this Leela had to do with intoxication. The story starts that Nanda Maharaj perfectly observes a religious fast on the day of Ekadashi, and the following day he wants to break the fast by bathing in the Yamuna. But somehow he was a bit too early. Timing is considered very important in Vedic rituals, and the servants of Varuna saw this little deviation reason enough to kidnap Nanda on the behalf of their master Varuna. Varuna, of course, only wanted to get the darshan of his lord, because as soon as Krishna heard that Nanda got lost bathing, he jumped into the river for his rescue. Quickly he satisfied his servant Varuna by his darshan and took Nanda back to Vraja. There he gave Nanda and all the residents of Vraja a divine vision of how the eternal spiritual realm looks for them. They saw Govardhan, they saw cows, the Yamuna, and basically everything they had on earth, though there were a few details different. For example, the eternal age of Krishna's transcendental body, in which he enjoys in Goloka, is around the age of 16, while that of Radha is at around the age of 14. In this age, puberty hits like a truck, and Krishna enjoys the conjugal mellow eternally in that Goloka. But when he comes to earth, he accepts to be born like a human child and grows into adulthood. This is his transcendental Leela. How is this pastime connected with intoxication? Varuna's realm represents refined material enjoyment and celestial pleasures. Varuna is actually associated with many beneficial intoxicating beverages and general material enjoyment. His realm represents a type of elevated material happiness, not gross demonic enjoyment, refined enjoyment, pleasant enjoyment, civilized enjoyment, the kind that whispers, just relax, a little more, you deserve it, just one drink, or a joint. And then, of all people, why is Nanda connected with that? He is like the most noble man and never irresponsible. Well, this is what we should understand. God does not want to limit our enjoyment by religious principles. He wants us to avoid causing harm to others while we pursue that happiness. Therefore, deep understanding of bhakti means the lower taste is replaced with a higher one that makes renunciation complete. Just like Nanda and the residents saw their eternal paradise with Krishna, so too the bliss of serving Krishna can overwhelm our illusion that we require bliss from external sources. In the next one, Nanda Maharaj again is in trouble. Swallowing of the python of Nanda Maharaj is meant to destroy all Mayavad conception about the absolute truth. So very interesting, because it is just another day in Raj, everyone minding Krishna's business, when suddenly Krishna hears from a disturbed villager that his father Nanda Maharaj has been swallowed by a huge python. Krishna, who always feels the pain of his devotees, rushed immediately to the scene, and with his feet only he tapped on the head of the serpent to immediately release Nanda Baba. The python then appeared in his original celestial form and said, "Long ago I was a Vidyahara named Sudarshan. Proud of my beauty and heavenly status, I mocked a group of sages whose appearance seemed unattractive to me. They cursed me to become this python. Only by receiving the touch of your lotus feet could I be liberated." After offering prayers, the celestial being departed. The residents of Raj embraced Nanda Maharaj with relief, while marveling once again at the inconceivable mercy and power of their beloved Krishna. This pastime is supposed to destroy the desire to listen to the conclusions of impersonalism and nihilism, or voidism. Those that claim the absolute truth is impersonal are like a python swallowing the Bhakta's tender Bhakti Lata beach. One who is not so expert in understanding conclusions of Shastra may be defeated by Mayavad argumentation, so he should not associate with groups promoting the path of renunciation and freedom of all ego as being on the same platform as becoming the eternal loving servitor of Krishna. God is great, and in his unlimited potencies the impersonalists find their desired mukti, or merging with the absolute truth and becoming one with God. But the Bhakta rejects that type of liberation and sees it as spiritual suicide. Should the neophyte not care to listen, the advice to avoid asat sangha in the form of association with impersonal groups, he may be swallowed by their arguments like a python swallows its prey, and loses conviction into the process of loving devotion to God as the ultimate goal of his existence. One beautiful night in Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram were enjoying the company of the gopis in the forest. The moon illuminated the groves of Vraja with its cooling rays. Trees were blossoming. The breeze carried the fragrance of flowers, and the sound of Krishna's flute enchanted the hearts of all living beings. The gopis sang in sweet voices while Krishna and Balaram listened with delight. The entire forest seemed alive with transcendental happiness. At that time, a powerful yaksha named Shankachuda happened to pass through the forest. Shankachuda was a servant of Kuvera, the treasurer of the demigods. His bodily beauty made him proud, and adorned with a magnificent jewel fixed upon his head, he enjoyed great riches. When he saw the beautiful gopis, his heart became overwhelmed with lust. He thought, "Who are these beautiful women? Let them be enjoyed by me." Thus without shame he entered the sacred grove, desiring to kidnap the gopis. Being afraid of the demon, they simply shouted out Krishna's and Balaram's holy names, and hearing their names, Krishna and Balaram immediately came to their rescue. Shankachuda became terrified upon being spotted by Krishna, and he fled into the forest. But Krishna chased after him, and with a powerful blow of his fist, he killed the demon with one single hit. Then Krishna removed his jewel from the head and gave it to Balaram as an offering of affection. This pastime is meant to teach us that we should not approach Krishna without caution, while still being tormented by mundane lust. Illicit sex is an obstacle to any religious or spiritual path, but sex within marriage is not the same as lusting after Krishna's wives. The Vedic injunctions are meant to direct our lust towards procreation and peaceful family life, not senseless enjoyment with the opposite or the same sex, in the name of religion and enjoying material life. Material prosperity often creates the illusion that we no longer require God's shelter. Surrounded by comfort, wealth, beauty, and admiration, one may gradually forget that all these gifts ultimately belong to Krishna and are meant for his service. Such demonic mentality is rejected by the devotees who endeavor to serve Govinda's lotus feet. Now I could again go on setting the scene, but the fact is, Krishna is just chilling out, and then BAM! Out of nowhere there's this big ass demon coming, trampling down half of Raja's trees. Aghasura was said to scream so fiercely that pregnant women would get miscarriages from hearing him. Sent by Kamsa and ordered to kill Krishna, the bull charges without delay at Krishna. Krishna took him by the horns and crushed him down, but the demon would not die at first. He rose again, charging with even greater speed. Blood spread around his face. Wrath fueled his determination to kill Krishna. With a last grab on his horns, Krishna broke it off and started to repeatedly bash the demon's head with his own horn. With the demon dead, the Brajavasis could feel relief from the fear the charging demon caused, and soon started to repair the damage the demon has done. This pastime is meant to annihilate false dharma. The Srimad Bhagavatam starts with the first verse stating, completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purāṇa propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truths uproot the threefold miseries. Therefore, true religion means to please God and love Him. The Srimad Bhagavatam carries the full truth about true religion, and with its precise instructions, is capable to cut down all religion that is based on selfish desires, mundane logic, and worldly morality. It reveals within 12 cantos the full transcendental body of the personality of Godhead. Still, if we stick to the feet only and never rise to the face, we might get cheated by the results of bhakti that offer fruits in the form of religious sense enjoyment and material prosperity. Because following religion sincerely leads to God, Krishna did not kill Arista at first charge. Some religious moralists may argue that Krishna's Rasa Lila is unethical. If they do not misbehave themselves, they may seem very righteous, arguing that Krishna is henpecked and enjoys with many married women, not understanding his position as the cause of all causes and the supreme pure. They can never enter the intimate pastimes of Krishna and Raja. Aghasura came as a bull, the personification of Dharma, but his intention was all evil and he didn't learn after his first charge, so he had to try again, and this time Krishna defeated him with his own weapon. Actually, Bhagavan accepts challenges, and if we dare to challenge him about religion, he is willing to fight us with our own weapons and arguments. And as Krishna is very fond of people sincerely following a religious path, his intention is not to beat us to death at the first try, but if we suggest we are more religious as God, we must be considered insane. Many devotees can recognize gross lust, many can recognize greed, many can recognize pride and wealth, and many become suspicious if disciples worship someone as God. But there's something more subtle than that. After one achieves a great position in bhakti, one thinks himself very advanced and superior. That pride is like that of a beautiful mare. Pride in devotional service is not necessarily a bad thing. Even the gopis felt as being the most beautiful and most fortunate women in the universe, being able to dance with Krishna. However, there is a demonic type of pride that actually is envy covered in false leadership. If I allow another to rise above my position, I will no longer be worshipped. A true guru wants to see his disciples succeed him and become greater than himself. This is true freedom from envy. A bona fide spiritual master is the giver of Krishna, but he can also withhold Krishna if he considers us unfit. When Krishna charged at Vrindavan, the earth shattered from his hooves. The residents of Vraj began terrified to warn Krishna from the approaching danger. The horse charged at Krishna and turned his back, attempting to kick Krishna with his powerful back legs. But Krishna was not moving an inch from that powerful force. He took Keshi by the legs and threw him away. The demon soon recovering, charging for a second time. Foaming and with red eyes, the Keshi demon charged with open mouth. Krishna grabbed the inside of the demon's mouth with his left arm and began to expand and expand. Not able to breathe and unable to release the grip, the Keshi demon suffocated and died on the spot. The demon charged with his mouth. What does it mean? False spiritual pride manifests through the speech, instruction, self-glorification, criticism of other sects, and claims of personal spiritual achievements and superiority over others. Krishna places his arm into that mouth. The demon is suffocated by the presence and greatness of Krishna himself. It is very funny to note here that the left hand is considered the hand to wipe your ass after taking a big toilet. Krishna used his left hand to stop the Keshi demon. Perhaps Krishna was teaching that the mentality of I am a great devotee belongs at the same place as the other things we flush down the toilet. By this point, Krishna and the cowherd boys were somewhat older and spent their days herding cows, wrestling, playing games, and wandering through Govardhan and the forest of Raja. One day they were playing a game. Some boys acted as shepherds, some acted as sheep, others acted as thieves who would steal the sheep away. While they were absorbed in this game, a demon named Yamasura entered among them disguised as a cowherd boy. Yamasura was the son of a magician called Maya Dhanavan, and was also expert in deception. Joining the game, he began acting as one of the thieves. One by one, he secretly kidnapped the boys who were playing the role of the sheep. He carried them away to a mountain cave. After placing them inside, he sealed the entrance with a huge stone. The remaining boys were so absorbed in their game that at first they did not notice what was happening. Gradually, Krishna observed that many of his friends had disappeared. Immediately he understood this was no ordinary boy, this was a demon.
Friends. Come, brothers, the path is safe again.
Krishna seized Vyamasura. The demon attempted to escape by expanding into a gigantic form as large as a mountain. But Krishna held him firmly, threw him to the ground, and killed him. Then he removed the stone from the cave and liberated all his friends. Now comes the really interesting symbolism. The name Vyoma means sky, space, or emptiness, and Bhaktivedanta Thakur connects them with bad association and false devotees. Why? Because unlike many demons, Vyamasura doesn't openly attack. He infiltrates. He pretends to belong. He joins the game. He looks like one of the boys. Then he slowly steals devotees away from Krishna's association. That's a remarkable, accurate image of false association. Nobody joins a bad group because they advertise, "Hello, we are false devotees." Instead they say, "We are devotees. We are spiritual. We love Krishna." The disguise comes first. The kidnapping comes later. Thus one must become blessed with good intelligence to see the sincerity within one's community of faith, and also be a good example himself, not making it one's business to criticize others, but to keep a respectful distance to those that carry demonic natures in sheep's disguise. Thus together we fought all the demons in our heart, or maybe not. Krishna may take some time to do that, depending whether we want to cooperate or remain trapped within the Maya that covers our soul's true potential. Thank you for tolerating Krishna's fist blows with me, and hopefully there will be a next time.